So, Coach, you've been through this before. Starting out with a new team, hitting a rough patch, um, the challenges of turning a program around. What feels familiar about this second go round with the Central Warriors?
Well, familiarity is a good word. You know, I'll start with, right now we we didn't want to be at this point, in our schedule. Starting starting 0-5 is a tough mountain, and you you realize how close we were in three of the games, and on either side of the football, offense or defense, three plays kept us from being in it, potentially winning. And it's a whole system of understanding the kids that you've got playing, the coaches that you have coaching, and the atmosphere that we're coaching in, living in, and coming from. So it is the familiar part of it is look, we're gonna take our lumps and we're gonna get some bruises. Do we have the character to come back from that? Do we have the character to continue getting better and playing as hard as we need to in order to get to a point in the season that we're proud of? And I'm not saying that there's nothing to be proud of right now, because we've got some great accomplishments. We've got some things that are really good about the season so far. And we started our league play last week. So we have the opportunity to do very, very well in our league. So there's, the second half of the season sometimes feels like the longest part of the season. But right now, it's the most important part for us and for the seniors, and then for how we look at starting what's coming up in the future. But right now, the future is on hold because we've got right now. We need to come out and be the athletes and the players and the coaches that we know we are every day. That's at practice, that's in the classrooms, that's in the hallways, that's at home. We need to exemplify what we want to achieve.
You speak of the seniors here, it's their last year. Probably weren't expecting to start off 0-5, but they are important. They may not know it, but they are important for years to come. What are you telling them in this hard time?
The first time we got together, I wanted them to know that this wasn't a coaching staff coach that was coming in looking at the future. I wanted and still want this season to be about them because they've earned that. They've been here for 4 years. Unfortunately, I haven't. And talk about, just a great group. And they've played together, most of them from when they were in youth, and that's what makes them so special, and that's what makes the start of the season so, I can't use the word disappointing. I'm not disappointed. I wanted better for them, and the kids all know that ultimately everything that happens is my fault. The blame goes to me. And there are times when I feel like I haven't done a good enough job for them. But we also know that that's not the way to think. Okay, so how do we turn it around? What do we need to do better? Can we bring ourselves to that level to get better every week? And that's where we are. There's a saying that practice makes perfect, and these guys know that perfect practice makes perfect. So we have to come out and get better every day. So Friday nights are an achievable goal, to have 11 guys on the field that are playing for the same purpose.
If you can get them to buy into that one goal, it's, I think Ray Lewis said, it's tough beating men who see something, and it's all on one page, and they all are locked in together. And you guys got to witness that. You got to witness that last week, when that Central Warriors team was hitting on all cylinders,
Right.
shutting out Adams City, winning, I want to get this score right, 47-0.
Yeah.
What did that moment mean to you and your players after getting, starting off 0-5?
Again, it's kind of that you hope for the realization or the light bulb to go on that says, look, we are a good team. We have put together, some very good games, and quite frankly, our first 5 games of the season were monsters. I mean, Fruta, who was 5A, Grand Junction, who is gonna be 5A, with big population and a lot of choice of players. And then you go into Montrose, who, was number 2 in the state last year. And then Palisade, who also has an unbelievably great program. And, we competed, we went out and we played football. And obviously we came up short on several things, but they were all learning moments and they were all building moments. So to go into Adams City and get a win is the confidence level that everybody needed. Yeah, I mean everybody, coaches, kids, parents, because you're 0-5, you're under scrutiny, and a lot of it's self-imposed. But to come away that way was a big step for us.
What's the biggest thing you want the group of players and also the community of Central to know, to understand about building something special from scratch?
Well, the Central Warriors, Central High School, the Clifton area, it's much more than football. We have basically a new administration at the school, and they are absolutely wonderful. And their goals are our goals. We want to change the culture of the whole environment. Not only is it the rebuilding of a football team, it's the knowledge and rebuilding of how everybody walks through these doors and walks through the hallways and is in the classroom. And the administration and staff are all on top of it, on board with not just an athletic change, not just a football change, but an entire community change. And we want to make this area proud of who we are. Not only football, but volleyball, softball, baseball, basketball, wrestling. I mean, we've got great kids and great families in these hallways, and they're the support. They're the stabilization of who we want to. And impress isn't the right word. We want to have people proud of our programs and of our school and of our students. That ultimately is how change and culture becomes great.
When you look back at those days at Platte Canyon High School and what you was able to do in turning that program around, how are you carrying that into this new era at Central High School?
Well, I think you can't compare kids to kids and community to community, but you can look at Platte Canyon as a place that hadn't experienced winning really before, and the changes that you needed to make were some of the hardest to do, but getting a coaching staff to congeal and a team to congeal is the process that has to happen. but it's a tough road. You know, I mean, I was 23 when I was the head coach at Platte Canyon High School. And you know, a 23-year-old in all intents and purposes, you know, there was a lot of learning. There was a lot of self-teaching and learning that I had to do. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my mentor would call me on the phone. He's like, man, I did not teach you to coach the way I saw you on the sideline. What are you doing? And you know, you have to realize that your exuberance and your excitement needs to be channeled differently. But getting back to the basic changes is, again, you know, I've used the word culture probably way too many times. Culture, attitude, desire, and wanting to become great is you know, it's an inherent trait in every human being. You just need to figure out how to pull it out. And you need to surround yourself with a supporting cast. Getting the team and the coaches to you know, again, a word I used before, congeal or mesh and form into this entity that has the same goal in mind, the same thought process is, what do we need to do in the off season to have a good season? Because that's where it starts. You know, you can look at everything right now this year and think about, well, we need to do this, this, and this. That starts in the summer and in the winter, in the weight room, in the mindset of what do we want to accomplish. Because, you know, the coaches can coach and coach and coach and coach and say and say and say and talk and talk and talk. But if it's not a common goal, then you're never going to get to where you want to be.
If you could talk to that younger version, the 23-year-old Bill Plock, the coach just starting out, what would you tell him today?
That the process that we're in can't be fast. It can't be haphazard. You have to have a plan and a structure and an end goal. And to get to that end goal is where your building blocks are. Where do we put these building blocks and the foundation of everything that we're trying to do and create this concept that's unbreakable? And you need to understand that that's a process, and it's gonna get knocked down, and you're gonna have to rebuild it. And it's gonna, you know, it's gonna take time to get it set in place where everybody buys into it. And are you gonna make everybody happy all the time? No. So it might be that this process isn't for everybody, but it needs to be for the people that want to be successful and continue, because it's not easy. I mean, it's hard work, it's time, it's effort, it's reliability. You know, can we rely on each other to do what we say we're gonna do? Is everybody gonna show up? Are you going to be accountable? And that's everybody. I mean, that's coaches too. I mean, we have to be accountable, and we have to do what we're gonna say we're gonna do. Otherwise, nobody buys into it, you know?
Last question, Skyline tonight, later tonight. What's the mindset of this team after having such a great win last week?
Well, you know, coming off of a win, you know, is a great thing. You know, we have momentum, and you know, the kids all know that they can play and win a game. I mean, you look at the beginning of the season, and you're close, and if we would have done this and this here and here, you get there's a point in time where the past doesn't matter anymore. You need to get rid of it and know that you've gotten better. And we're going into a Skyline game where they've got a really good team. They're a good team. They're big, and their quarterback is the leader of that team, and he's a great athlete. He runs the ball well and he throws the ball well. And we, defensively, we need to come out and be solid. Everybody needs to just do their job. And that's a tough thing to say, because everybody wants to do what they think should be done on the field, but as far as being coached as to your position and what you're responsible for, that's when we really click. And then offensively, we've got, our offensive coordinators are, they're doing a fantastic job with the athletes that we have. And we know that we can score points. Now it's up to the defense to make those points matter, right? We've got to stop the ball. That's the challenge. Us being able to stop their offense, and we've worked hard at it this week. And we've got kids that are ready to play, and an 8 o'clock game on a Friday. It's like, man, is it ever going to get here so we can take care of this? So that's what we're looking forward to, is the resolve of the kids, and how we're going to respond to an offense that's pretty explosive if you let them.
If you could say in a few words, just to give this community some reassurance that give me some time, we're going to be okay, what would those words be?
So it's a good question. When we got together as a coaching staff, which was also put together very quickly, but we've got great guys. We didn't necessarily want to be, it's their first year, we got to give them this. We didn't want to be that. We all wanted to start differently. And yeah, you can go back and make the excuse that we're, a first-year coaching staff, but that's not me. I'm not an excuse guy. And I've told you earlier that, what happens and what transpires, it's my fault. It's me. I'm the guy. So the criticism and the critics are obviously going to look at me wondering, what are you doing? And what we're doing is again, creating this atmosphere of winning. We need to understand that when we take the field, we can win. We just need to be able to put it together and complete that, to finish it. We need to finish football games. We need to finish everything we've started, and we need to finish better than we did yesterday or last week. So again, there are always going to be critics. There are always going to be the people that see what's happening on the field differently than the way we're building it. There's a purpose and a reason for everything we do. And ultimately, it's to make these kids in this team as good as it can be. And it's a process. And you learn from your mistakes, and you get better from them, coaches, players, everybody. So we are doing the absolute best that I believe that we can. We're giving our 100% to this effort. We're not taking it lightly, and it hurts. I mean, it cuts, it stings when we do not achieve what we know we can. But again, that's life. No matter sports field, classroom, business, work, life is about overcoming and achieving what you believe and know that you can. You just have to figure out those puzzle pieces and put them together the right way. And that's, you know, that's what building a program is. That's what building a company is. That's what, again, that's what life is. It's getting knocked down, and do you have the courage to stand back up and do it again? And that's what we're trying to ingrain here, because we're all going to get knocked down. It's how you respond to that.
Couldn't have said it any better. I'm gonna actually end it right there because that's a great soundbite, a great quote.